Oh, yeah.
All right, well, I'm just going to go get right out there and introduce us. My name is Jay. Collectively, this is Tech Translated. We're from CompuMatter, and our goal is to make the everyday things that are complex and left brain and geeky by nature more simplified and really get it down to where we hope a 10-year-old would understand it. And that kind of a thing applies to me and everybody else. You just wanted to make it as easy as possible. So let me introduce you to...
My name is Auren. My goal is the same as everybody here. We want to make everything more digestible, whether it be passwords or cloud storage or all sorts of different technical things that confuse people and even myself on a day-to-day basis, depending on what you're working with. So feel free if you have any questions, leave a comment, we'll be able to see it.
And we're on YouTube and Facebook for those questions. We'll see them pop up if you want to talk about anything specifically. I'm Douglas down here. I'm the manager, and ultimately, from the complex to the very simple, we want to try to make things as easy to understand as possible.
All right. Well, today we're going to start off talking about phones, mobile devices, and we'll bounce around a lot with different things. But if you have questions along the way, as Auren mentioned, jot us something down in the chat window. We'll see it. Once we get some of these other windows moved, we'll be able to see your chat and respond to it. And so for now, we're going to talk about phones and what you do with your pictures.
It's a common problem.
Yeah, I personally have somebody that's very close to me, and I'm not going to mention any names, that had over 20,000 pictures on their device.
And on the device.
On their phone. And so they keep getting more, they keep upgrading and getting, this particular one was an Apple, and I'm sure the same thing plays out in the Android.
So it was majority on the cloud, probably not all on the
Well, I'm not really sure how much of it was syncing or how much of it, I think it was on the device.
Oh,
and so what happens is she keeps on, oh, I said the she thing again. I did that the last time. So okay, so now we know what gender they are.
It's live.
We'll just keep upgrading her cloud until the the amount of storage that she was available synced online, and there were no more bugs and no more error messages. But whenever they want to show somebody a picture of something, they go, they're there for 10 minutes, and and they get this down where if you give it a good spin, it's kind of like the slot machine at the casino. You get a bunch more.
Just give it some time, and then see what year you're looking at.
They've got the colors. I think they've got the colors and the patterns of all these images down enough.
Because they've scrolled past it enough times.
As it's slowing down, they oh yeah, I recognize that flow, and they start slowing down and zeroing in on it. And so, it's that's brain damage. I mean, who wants to live like that, right?
Well, ultimately, it's the convenience of having all of your photos at immediate access. And I get some people's want to be able to share photos from all those different times, but there is an inconvenience factor, especially when you're paying for more storage for a lot of the photos that you're not going to reach back to in the immediate.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what you do, but typically when I do my purge out of my phone, I will keep a handful of photos that I do want to share with people, that I would want to be able to pull out immediately.
Right.
And so I'll purge everything but basically my favorites.
Right, right.
And every time I do a backup of all of my photos, those same favorites are duplicated in every instance I do a backup of my phone.
All right, so we're going to talk, we're going to let you, you're going to cover what you do and what you don't do. And you're going to be honest with them, right?
Yeah, that's too honest.
All right. We're putting it on you.
My photos are an absolute mess. I have thousands upon thousands of just untitled folders that don't have dates on them. And like I was saying, because I keep my favorites on my phone, every time I do a purge of everything, I back up all of those pictures again. So for every year, I think I have made a backup. And then I've made a duplicate of that backup so that if I ever lost anything or if data got corrupted or a drive failed on me, I don't just rely on one spot where I put those photos. I at least have it in two. And then again, my favorites are probably duplicated 100 times over that.
So what do you feel is the lesson for the public and all of that?
The lesson in the public is for file management, and especially for photos because they tend to pile up for a long time. is ideally to make a folder structure that does nail down ideas of time frame or events, just so that when you go to pull from those memories, it's not as much as of a stress as looking at just a sea of unended, untitled files. But for myself, like I said, I still have yet to go back and do the full editing of it, but I do have, probably 10 or 20 folders that give me an idea of what time frame that took place. And then I can kind of whittle it down from there on this year or that year. And I still have to go back every now and then to that so that I can get it better organized for the future. But otherwise, duplicates would be my one big lesson, because everybody's lost data, or most people have dealt with data loss in the past, is at least keep a second copy of something. One that you're actively editing, and then another that you're backing up every now and then from your sea of photos.
Yeah.
What do you do with your photos?
Oh, man, I tell you what.
Well, you got a wiki. You're a little bit luckier.
So this is so I walk away a little bit confused by what you just suggested. The important part is keeping duplicates, right? That's the takeaway.
And then one of them is the one that I'm currently editing and making folders and then filing pictures from that year or from that subject.
Right.
Like Renaissance Fair, I could have one folder that's that, and I could be pulling pictures from multiple different years.
Right.
But I know how to go get to that. So I'm trying to organize it in one, but my other backup that's just the duplicates is not edited at the moment.
Right.
It's just my sea of photos. I just throw more photos in there whenever I get them.
And that's okay. This is part of the honesty with what we're doing. We don't have everything about everything figured out, and I know Tech Translated is supposed to break it down and really, but there are those things that it's just a bane to humanity, and the important thing is, yes, know that you have a second copy of it somewhere.
Yeah, and also I guess I was describing that it is a process. It's not something that is, I'm going to go home today, I'm just going to nail out organizing all of my photos. That's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not a real life scenario.
It'd take you forever.
It would take me way too long. So ultimately, it is a process of going back, referring to it, making new folders so that you can help organize it a little bit better. But taking it all on at once is the reason I still have a sea of photos.
Now, some people don't even know how to get the photos, because you say you move them.
Yeah, I call it the purge.
But they don't really know what that is.
Typically, your phone's about to be full on storage. You plug it into the computer, access the, it's usually referred to as the DCIM folder, Digital Camera Images folder.
So that's the same for Apple. They use the same name.
Yeah, so, and that's a lot of digital cameras too. When you plug it in, if there's a folder that's DCIM, that is typically where it'll store all the photos at. And most of the phones, it's hard to branch for all of them, but most of the phones, you'll plug it in, it'll ask you to trust this device or allow this device to connect, and then there is usually a feature to switch it to file transfer mode through your settings or sliding down from the top. But then that'll give you access on the computer to be able to see all those files that are on your phone. Gotcha. And I always recommend copying before moving, because you can copy it, make sure, verify where they pasted on the machine. So when you move it from one location to another, make sure it opens on the other side before you go through and delete the photos off of the phone itself.
Yes, you don't want it deleted on both.
I just spilled my coffee. Thank you, but not on my phone, thankfully. and thank you, Auren. Appreciate it. All right.
But yeah, essentially, and that goes with absolutely any file movement or duplicating, so that you can have another safe spot for the files. I always prefer to copy, verify that the file's open before you delete the originals. And if you're keeping both of them, then that won't be an issue. But otherwise, in order to free up space on your phone, make sure you can open your files on the other side before you delete them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what do you do with your photos?
Well, let's see here. So at first I had it all in my file system on my computer, and then I would back it up externally. But then it started growing and growing, and I did want to go back and just have the ability to open up a photo and show people wherever I was. So at that point, I basically surrendered myself to Google in the realm of Google Photos and Google Drive, just because it's really easy for me to have folders in the cloud for specific sets of photos that I had, like honeymoon pictures or whatever. And then Google Photos, it allows me to actually search if I was looking for a particular photo of a family member or a friend. I actually have it to the point where the AI can detect who is who, and I can search by a name and pull up all the photos of that person. So it's pretty cool. It actually allows me to search and navigate better and show people photos
I'm
easier.
just curious, do they know the names of the people, or do you have to input
I have
that?
to input them.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yeah, no, not
They're
that
oh,
weird.
That's Steve.
Yeah.
You see a picture of Steve.
No.
That's an interesting one.
Not quite.
Okay.
But what it does, it's interesting. If you chose somebody from maybe it was 10 years ago, a picture of their face, over time, you know, it might start asking, hey, is this recent photo, is that the same person? Can you verify, or is this a different person that you should make a tag for?
So it'll ask and sort of reference what you input in order to figure out whether it's the same face.
Yes, yes.
But you probably only have to do that a few times because the facial recognition is so good. You do it once or twice or whatever in all the other photos.
Yeah, I imagine it's getting better, but if you had a photo of them when they were a kid and then it asked, that would be an interesting one.
The cool thing about it, too, is it also works on pets. So, if you start naming, hey, this is my friend's cat, and this is my cat Echo, I can search by Echo and show people gazillions of my cat.
Wow.
That is a problem.
The
I have too many
photo.
pictures of my cat.
Full folder of cats.
Yeah.
That's
It's
an
overwhelming.
interesting one for animals. And the cloud is a huge benefit for a lot of the people who do want to be able to instantly pull up pictures. The iCloud and the Google Photos both have that going for it, where it's not filling up your phone, but you still have access to it as long as you're on the internet. But I don't really want to pay monthly forever, so I have chosen for my own that my bulk of photos is on an external hard drive on 2 of my computers. I think on 3 of my computers, now that I think about it. So I actually have triplets of all of my photo data. And then my favorites, again, they're duplicated at least 100 times. I have flash drives with my favorites on it as well.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about. I use an iPhone. These guys. They're not these guys. These 2 both use Android, and my formula would probably not be different no matter which one I had. As he mentioned a minute ago, I don't want to pay in perpetuity for storage to hold my ever-growing database of photos, because it literally never ends.
It's exponential.
I mean, you'll take it to the grave, right?
And there's
And
cameras.
they'll still keep charging you for a while.
Yeah, now there's cameras in everybody's pockets, so it's only going to increase how many photos.
So my goal is, I've got this tool that takes beautiful pictures, and I want to keep them over time, period. So I get them off the phone, and I store them on my computer. That's where the first version of it lives, and then the second version lives on wherever my backup is. So I've got my 2 versions. I'm paying and one of them's a cloud backup. I'm paying iCloud nothing for the extra photos that I would keep. In fact, I don't even have iCloud turned on for photos on my phone. It's turned off. So I take the pictures and videos, I plug this computer into my computer. I plug this piece. Easy for me to say, right?
Yeah.
I plug this phone into my computer, and up like his Android, it says Jay's iPhone, but underneath that it'll say DCIM, and you'll see a folder or 2. And then, unlike him, I don't copy. I'm a risk taker. It's in my blood. I move that bad boy because I don't want to wait. I find that.
Do you also have it on your digital image wiki, though?
What?
Do you have the sea of photos on the wiki as well? And then isn't that backed up?
No. You mean the DAM, the
Yeah.
Digital Asset Manager? No, those photos are there. I put those. That's something for certain photos that I want. I hardly ever get to that.
Okay.
That's something that really important old archival photos I do store on that.
Okay.
But the important part is you want them to be safe, and I don't want them to clog up the phone. So what I do, I'm going to show you my system here, I'll go ahead and take me away. Now, it may be hard to see on your computer, on your device, but I will create, let's see, I was backing up I wanted to get my pictures off the phone today. I would create a folder and I would name it 2024 dot 2 digits for the month dot 2 digits for the day.
Okay, so on the time that you do the backup.
On the time that I do the backup. So 2024 11.11.02 for today's date.
Okay.
And then I would drag all of my pictures into that folder, pictures and videos into that folder. Because this allows me to chronologically order everything by just hitting the name button. So if I hit, so they're automatically ordered by the day and date. And if you do it the other way, day, month, year, then all of a sudden January and November and December,
okay.
they're all going to start with a 1. It's not going to work.
So the year up front
You have to start with the year, then the month, then the day, and Windows or Apple, whatever you store them on, is always going to keep them in chronological order. And that at least gives you some method of determining where, and if you want to dump these into some photo management software or something else so you can search for them more efficiently, you can, but at least you know where they are. And then sometimes within those folders, I might create another folder, and
if it's a specific event.
my Hawaii trip,
Okay.
or somebody's birthday or whatever. So you can create subfolders within those, but you want that parent folder to be the date of the event. And that's it. And I keep them over time that way.
And Danny, good to see you. How's it going?
Danny, good morning. Sorry about the late response to that message. We can go ahead and bring ourselves up there. Good to see you again. Let me tell you a little story about a man named Jay. That sounds like something out of the Beverly Hillbillies. And good to see you. And yeah, I spilled my coffee a minute ago, and that gives us a minute to talk about our sponsor, Viva Paper Towels. No, I'm only kidding.
But
these
be a good
paper
one to
towels
reach
are
out.
great.
Yeah, they are the best.
Yeah. All right, so that's kind of how I handle it. And then my phone is completely empty. No photos.
Oh, you don't even save favorites?
0.
Oh, see,
Now, if I want to leave them on there, I can, sure.
No, but just favorites for showing people
no,
specific memories.
There's nothing wrong with that, of course. I'm not that anal, but I do like a clean device without paying per photo forever. That's what I do.
But it's a combo. I kind of think I might start using the cloud so that I can have access to my photos in bulk without having to fill up my phone. I think that's a transition I'll probably make.
So I guess
depends on how many photos you have and how many pictures you take, really.
Yeah.
And your ability to pull them up, because for a lot of people it's family and friends that they get together with that they want to show updated photos of other family and friends they don't get to see as much.
Yeah. I mean, I come from a time that you probably don't remember, but
where you just saw each other face to face without photos.
It was a hard picture. It was a piece of cardboard or paper rather, with a picture on it, and you'd store it in a box, and with every other picture.
And that box was the same exact thing as these folders we're talking about.
Oh yeah,
nothing is labeled and just a
to this
pile
day,
of
I can remember my grandmother coming out with something the size of a shoebox, and in it were hundreds of intertwined. In 4x4 pictures from days gone by, and this person and that, and we'd be sitting around the box looking, that one and that one, but there was absolutely no organization. Every person, every animal, every house, every event was all mixed together as a jumbled mess inside the box, and
actually that brings up a good note for duplications. But like I've said, some of my favorite pictures are backed up 100 times at least because of the fact that when I purge my phone and copy everything off of it, I leave those photos on my phone, so they're getting copied every single time. If I take the mass of all the files that are all of the backups I've made and I dump them all into one folder, it will ask me, would you like to merge these files or skip these duplicates? And I could hone it down just by moving them all to one location for a moment.
And you could get and they make deduplication software. Just don't ask me to say that 3 times fast. Deduplication software you can install and point it to your folder on your computer and tell it, or your whole computer, and tell it to find all duplicates and delete them. So that you only end up with one copy of anything, and that can that can apply to things well beyond photos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and makes it a lot easier for you to see how out of control it's gotten over time.
Yeah. And it does a good job of checking how many bytes that file is. You know,
And also
really
if you-
down
yeah,
in the metadata even.
If you copy a photo and you throw it into a mass of photos that you have in another folder and it sees a bunch of copies, it will ask you what you want to do with the files. And it'll usually show you the size of both files just in case it's a text document and one of them is newer edited than the other one.
But there is a danger there. If it's just the same name and it uses that for the criteria, then you could very well overwrite an older document with a newer document or a newer document with an older document. So
So the naming's important, and I was
Yeah.
mainly talking about photos because
right.
they usually, the camera itself will record that. To be different.
I
data wiped out is on your something they can
They were based off of the time. I'll look that up right now.
Yeah.
I thought it gave it
I
up.
haven't,
I've-
I haven't
I've
personally run into
experienced
that,
it.
but it depends, I guess, on
Yeah, I've run
each
into
device,
it
really.
because of the way that I do things, where I put everything in a day, date, year folder and
Right.
zero out my phone. There have been times when I brought stuff over and it tries to copy a different photo onto the same one based on that image.
Yeah, I guess between different devices, it's a possibility because they do name it very similarly between the different devices.
And we have Paulo from YouTube. Good to see you again, Paul. And tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. We're going with Paulo.
We're going with Paulo.
Hello?
I think
Yeah,
so.
that sounds
OwnCloud. OwnCloud has a community version that has a deduplication feature if you want
will
a
be
private SaaS, which is software as a service.
yeah.
I'm a big fan of OwnCloud and Nextcloud, but that's going to be a little higher brow, I think, than most of our viewers are going to, a rabbit hole they're going to want to go down, because you have to have your own server environment to install OwnCloud or Nextcloud. And but that's cool that they have that. We do use Nextcloud here at the store.
And I'll be checking out that deduplication feature
Yeah.
because I have a lot of customers with needs on dealing with duplicates.
I think
Yeah.
CCleaner also, at least it had in the past, it had a deduplication
I do
feature.
remember that, yeah.
And it actually really helped me out personally one time when I was going through a ton of backups. I think I had a hard drive that failed at one point, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't putting two different giant photo
Yeah.
files on my main machine, and that really helped out.
And do you know of any other deduplication software?
I do have specific deduplication software that I recommend, and it is in our wiki. See how long that takes to come up.
And as
As
far
far
as
as
I
the
know,
Jeopardy music.
Duplicati does backups and removes duplicates and when it saves the data, but those duplicates are still there.
Yeah.
They just reference it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you need a good backup software, Duplicati is open source, really good. I've been using it and having no issues.
I had a person I backed up 48 terabytes of information, and on the other side it was only 17 terabytes in its backed up form,
Whew.
which is very impressive. That'll
Yeah.
save you on space overall.
So we use something called a wiki here at the store, and that actually is on our server project, and it's basically a place where we have recorded knowledge. Where do we have our people at the bottom? Okay, and so
The people.
in our recorded knowledge, I can very quickly bring up things that we've saved over time and want to reference later, time like this. So deduplication central shows me that this link to mindgems.com, and by the way, they have a lot of cool free software. That folder size
Folder size.
comes from them as well.
The folder size I use all the time, that'll tell you how much space each file is taking up on your computer. So if you have a space issue and you can't find it, like you've deleted a bunch of data and you still don't see the mass that's taking up the space, folder size will allow you to locate it with a pie chart. It's actually really user-friendly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great software.
very user-friendly.
And this software is also great software. Fast duplicate file finder, and it will remove duplicate files, folders, drive, computer, or entire network. So
Oh.
worth taking a look at. If you have a Windows computer, that's your answer. I don't have the answer for you for an Apple computer, unfortunately.
I do not have a duplication software for the Mac side of things. I'm going to jot that down to do a little bit
Yeah,
of
that's a good
research
thing
on
to
that.
check on.
Paulo says I've got the name right. Good. Beautiful.
Nice.
Paulo's coming into us from YouTube. Danny from Facebook.
Yeah, I think, Paulo, you've been trying to join our stream for a while now, so it's good to see you.
Okay, what else we got on the list of? Well, how's our timing?
We have a service that we're going to start giving